When it comes to identifying the most dangerous fighters in boxing's lower weight divisions, a new name has started to gain traction across gyms, in boxing circles, and all over online platforms. Nick Ball. Hailing from Merseyside, England, and standing just 5 feet 2 inches tall, Ball might not tower over his opponents physically, but what he lacks in height, he makes up for with ferocity. His fighting style, power, and mindset have earned him comparisons to a young Mike Tyson, with many calling him the Tyson of the featherweights. It's more than just hype. Ball has earned every bit of attention he's received through an unapologetically violent approach to boxing, turning heads and raising eyebrows across the sport. With each fight, more people are beginning to ask a once unthinkable question. Could this compact powerhouse be the man to finally bring down the seemingly untouchable Naoya Inoue? Nick Ball's journey into the professional boxing world was marked, from the beginning, by his unique background. Before donning traditional boxing gloves, Ball was a practitioner of Thai boxing. This early experience helped shape his brutal style, giving him a foundation in controlled aggression and close-quarters combat. But his path took a decisive turn after he became enamored with the highlights of Mike Tyson, a boxer whose thunderous knockouts and aggressive flair deeply resonated with him. That influence is more than just stylistic. It's visible in the way Ball fights. Short, stocky, powerful, and fearless, he pushes forward with the same kind of energy and destructive purpose that made Tyson a legend. From the first bell, Ball is known to attack like a hurricane. He doesn't feel opponents out. He pounces, corners, and crushes with combinations that sound far too heavy for a man weighing 126 pounds. What separates Ball from most in his division isn't just his explosiveness. It's the fact that he brings heavyweight power to the featherweight class. His rise through the ranks wasn't slow or cautious. It was a series of explosive statements. Even early in his career, during his second professional fight, Ball showcased an ability to dismantle opponents who had significant height and reach advantages. While others might have hesitated, Ball plunged forward, using his low center of gravity and underrated head movement to get inside and land brutal body and headshots. Spectators began noticing a pattern almost immediately. Regardless of the size or skill of his opponent, Ball had a way of neutralizing their advantages and chopping them down with ruthless efficiency. His fights often seemed less like contests and more like exercises in controlled destruction. A particularly memorable moment in Ball's early career came when he stepped into the ring with a much taller adversary. Despite giving up inches in both height and reach, Ball pressed forward fearlessly. He was relentless, delivering a stream of hooks, uppercuts, and punishing body shots that slowly broke his opponent down. The expression on his face throughout the fight told the entire story. There was no hesitation, no doubt, just a burning certainty that he was there to dominate. By the end of the first round, his opponent was barely able to stand, and when Ball finally closed the show with a brutal finishing combination, the message was loud and clear. This wasn't just another fighter in the featherweight division. This was a force of nature, a compact storm of violence who had no intention of being ignored. His performances didn't go unnoticed for long. Ball caught the attention of Frank Warren, one of Britain's most prominent boxing promoters, and was quickly signed to a professional deal. This partnership opened doors and placed him on a bigger stage where he could showcase his talent against higher-level opposition. With each successive fight, Ball added new victims to his resume, most of them folding under the weight of his aggression. In a particularly emphatic performance in his hometown of Liverpool, Ball put on a masterclass that left the crowd in awe. His opponent barely had a chance to settle before being battered by a perfectly executed combination that shook the building. The man across from Ball had no answer for the pressure, the volume, or the sheer power of what was coming at him. He tried to adjust, to fight back, but Ball was unrelenting. His output never slowed, and his shots never lost their snap. It was the kind of performance that sent a chilling reminder to anyone watching. Nick Ball wasn't just coming to win. He was coming to destroy. What truly sets Ball apart is not just his punching power, but his consistency and relentlessness. Many fighters with knockout power tend to pick their spots, waiting for the perfect opening. Ball doesn't believe in waiting. He creates openings through pressure and chaos. He doesn't throw one or two punches at a time, he throws in bunches. Even if he misses, he's already recalibrating for the next onslaught. His footwork, though often overlooked, is precise and efficient, allowing him to slip in and out of range while maintaining pressure. That combination of aggression and mobility makes him a nightmare to deal with. His opponents don't get time to think, breathe, or recover. They're constantly reacting, and eventually, they break. Ball's defense, often underestimated because of his offensive approach, is another reason he remains unbeaten. He's not reckless. While he's more than willing to take a shot to land two, he does so strategically. His tight guard and subtle head movement mean that he avoids the worst of his opponent's counters while placing himself in perfect position to return fire. As his career advanced and the caliber of his opposition increased, Ball continued to show that he could adapt without changing the core of his style. He dominated not just lesser opponents, but contenders with serious pedigree. 1 of the defining moments of Ball's rise came against Lamotei, a previously undefeated fighter standing 5'8", a full 6 inches taller than Ball. On paper, Lamotei had the tools to keep Ball at bay. He had the reach, the movement, and the experience to present problems. And in the early stages of the fight, it seemed he might do just that. Lamotei peppered Ball with jabs and landed clean right hands. But Ball never showed signs of being rattled. Instead, he adjusted and began closing the distance, cutting off the ring with precise footwork. He went to the body with thudding shots and landed his signature overhand right with growing frequency. The momentum shifted. Lamotei, once confident, began to retreat. The predator-prey dynamic had flipped. By the midway point of the fight, it was no longer competitive. Lamotei's corner watched as Ball unleashed wave after wave of punishing combinations. Each round drained more energy and confidence from their fighter. Ball didn't just win the exchanges, he broke Lamotei down systematically. The final round was brutal. Lamotei had little left to give, and Ball sensed the end. His pressure intensified, his shots landed with more precision, and finally, Lamotei's corner threw in the towel. It wasn't just a win. It was a statement. Ball had claimed a major title by beating an undefeated, highly regarded opponent. The boxing world had to take notice. With a world title now around his waist, Ball returned to Liverpool to defend his belt against seasoned American veteran Rios. Rios, known for his resilience and grit, was expected to test Ball's limits. But from the opening bell, it was apparent Ball had no intention of pacing himself. He came out with the same fury he always brings, launching bombs that rocked Rios almost immediately. To his credit, Rios fought back bravely. He tried to use his jab, find angles, and slow Ball down. But the Englishman's power was overwhelming. His shots shook Rios to the core, and his pace left no room for recovery. In the third round, Ball delivered a left hook that sent Rios stumbling to the canvas. While some thought it might have been a slip, replays showed the punch had landed cleanly on the jaw. Though Rios got up and continued, the writing was on the wall. Ball was in full control. He pushed forward like a man possessed, punishing Rios with a mix of body shots and overhands. The American's corner debated stopping the fight, but Rios insisted on continuing. He was determined to go out on his own terms. That nearly cost him. In one of the most dramatic moments of Ball's career, he launched a combination that literally sent Rios halfway out of the ring. The crowd erupted as the referee stepped in to halt the beating. It was another dominant win for Ball, and further, proof that his power was legitimate at the world level. What came next only added to his legend. Ball's most recent bout was against former world champion TJ Doheny. This wasn't just any fight. Doheny had once gone the distance with Naoya Inoue. The matchup was seen as a measuring stick. Could Ball do what Inoue hadn't and stop Doheny? Ball didn't take the question lightly. From the outset, he approached the fight with intensity, looking to make a statement. Doheny, to his credit, started strong. His timing was excellent, and he landed clean counters. But as had been the case with so many before him, he simply couldn't keep Ball off him. Despite being deducted a point in the 9th round for tripping, Ball never lost his composure. He pressed forward, attacking with a level of sustained aggression few fighters can maintain. Each round, Ball's pressure mounted and Dohany's resolve began to falter. The crowd at Wembley watched as Ball overwhelmed the former champion. By the 10th round, Dohany's corner had seen enough. Their fighter's face was swollen, his legs unsteady. They wisely ended the bout before more damage could be done. Ball had passed the test. Not only had he defeated a former champion, but he had done it more emphatically than Inoue. That performance has reignited the conversation. Could Nick Ball be the man to topple Naoya Inoue? On paper, it's a mismatch. Inoue is arguably the most complete fighter in the sport today. He possesses elite footwork, speed, timing, and knockout power in both hands. He dismantles opponents with surgical precision. But boxing isn't won on paper. Styles make fights, and Ball's unrelenting pressure, iron chin, and concussive power pose a different kind of threat than Inoue is used to facing. Inoue often controls fights with his rhythm and distance. But what happens when an opponent doesn't let him breathe? A potential showdown between Ball and Inoue wouldn't be a tactical chess match. It would be a slugfest. Ball wouldn't try to outpoint Inoue, he would try to overwhelm him. And while no one has come close to breaking Inoue, Ball has the mentality and physical tools to at least ask the question in a way no one else has. Whether or not the fight happens in 2025 is uncertain. There are promotional hurdles, timing considerations, and weight class dynamics to account for. But the intrigue is real. Regardless of whether he gets a shot at Inoue soon or not, one thing is clear. Nick Ball is no longer just a prospect or a regional threat. He's a world-class fighter, a champion, and one of the most dangerous men in the featherweight division. Every time he steps into the ring, chaos follows. And if the path he's on continues, that chaos might one day collide with one of the sport's modern-day legends. When that day comes, the world will be watching, and Nick Ball will be ready.